never anything bad about any storyline in which Sidney Crosby's going for more gold. That might be truer now than ever. Good morning to you. Good Tuesday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Daily Shot of Penguins. It comes your way bright and early every weekday if you're into football and or baseball. I also offer daily shots of Steelers and Pirates in the same place that you found this. The past 48 hours has seen not only Sid, but also Marc-Andre Fleury revealing that they're heading over to Europe to represent Canada in the IIHF World Championships. I am no fan of this tournament, never have been, don't understand its existence, and really don't understand its timing, because forever and ever, it's happened during the Stanley Cup playoffs. Now, on one hand, that's nice for those teams who can pick from non-playoff NHL players or NHL players who get eliminated after one round. But it still makes for a really weird, not at all best on best vibe to it. There's a lot of AHL in there. There's a lot of KHL, European leagues. And while the winners do get celebrated over there if somebody gets a gold, and the Canadians will pay attention to it just because it's hockey, it's a zero in the United States, and it's been a zero forever because, we see better stuff here. But again, Sid's choice. Sid wants to do it. Kyle Dubas is the GM. If he wins yet another gold, no matter what anybody thinks of this tournament, it'll be his second one at Worlds, and his first one in 2015 counted toward putting him into the exclusive triple gold club. That means Olympics, Stanley Cup, and Worlds. I guess now you could throw World Cup of Hockey in there, Four Nations, World Juniors, whatever else. Sid's won everything that there is to win in hockey, and yet Sid is never really done winning. And that's the part that I like best about this. I remember being in New York when the Penguins were having those final two games before the Four Nations break against the Rangers and the Flyers. They were on a little bit of a roll there. Then Sid got hurt. And that was when, of course, there was at least some small conversation about whether or not Sid should participate in Four Nations if he's not going to be available to the Penguins over those two games. And then you're thinking, no, it's Sid. Always give Sid the benefit of the doubt. Sid didn't play against the Rangers or the Flyers. But then, of course, he did play and play quite well for Canada in winning the Four Nations tournament. And I'm going, all right, listen, I get it. It would have been neat if the Penguins made the playoffs this year. But then I also was thinking, you know what? Let him keep winning in some form for somebody, as long as he stays in Pittsburgh and stays happy. If that sounds like an excessively, myopic or isolated viewpoint on this, so be it. Nobody here can know what the short-term, certainly not the long-term future is for this plan Dubas has going. It'd be wonderful if there were some significant stride taken, for example, in the next NHL season. And one would think that has to mean getting back into the playoffs at least. Not to mention all the peripheral / developmental stuff. I'm not being ignorant here. You got to have your young guys out there. You got to have them getting better. It's not going to be all about how many points you put up in the standings. But you don't know. That's my point. What you do know is that at this stage of his career, the most likely winning, and I mean winning it all, that Sid has left in his career is stuff like this, is stuff like the Olympics in Italy next February. And to that I say, go nuts. Go nuts. Go get it. Even if there's a slight, maybe subconscious way to make it a priority at certain times, go ahead and do that too. Just don't leave. Don't ever make anyone have to think about what it would be like to see Sid in some other NHL sweater. When we come back, J1Q. This episode is brought to you by BetOnline, your number one source for all your summer sports needs this season. From Major League Baseball, golf, NHL, NBA playoffs. Get the latest odds and lines, including all team matchups, player props, odds on just about everything that's out there. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. BetOnline, where the game starts. Today's J1Q comes from Ed Engel, who says, DK, right after Mike Sullivan was fired, you said on this show that you hoped he was let go for the right reasons. The Monday program, you ended by saying that this move had to happen from the Pittsburgh perspective. Is there any chance we ever hear what you are hearing? Yeah, Ed, I can do that right now. I didn't mean to be glib with it. What I said, for anybody who might have missed yesterday's show, was that I've picked up on additional information that suggests that this wasn't really a surprise to anybody. Not from Sullivan's perspective, not from Kyle Dubas's perspective, and not from anybody at all on the Penguins side, and possibly not even from the Rangers. Now, that said, the stuff that I've heard, to get literal here with you, Ed, it's not enough for me to go running to the keyboard and start typing it up and making big headlines out of it. That's just the nature of reporting. Sometimes you pick up a vibe. Sometimes you pick up something that you still need to confirm somewhere else or whatever. That's why I said that. All I was doing was being as open and honest with you as I could, which is that I don't have much, but I have this. So in that event, if you're looking at this as Dubas would, specifically putting a name to the Penguins side, and there's a sense, even peripherally, Sixth Sense, ESP, whatever, conversations, that maybe this guy just doesn't want to be here anymore. Maybe this guy would rather be in a position where all he's got to do is win the game in front of him or try to win the game in front of him. And then it becomes something that Dubas has to deal with. So Dubas isn't wild about having to wait around or to wonder about this. So he gets on the plane, flies to Boston, and says, hey, listen, I'm out on whatever it is that we're all supposed to be waiting on here. I need somebody who's 100% in on this, who's willing to do what's needed for the longer-term furtherment of the Penguins. And I no longer believe that's you. And that's what I mean when I say that it had to happen from the Pittsburgh perspective. You couldn't, if you're the GM of this team and team president, and I think he's got like 7 other titles, Dubas does, you couldn't enter the 2025-26 NHL season casting a suspicious eye at your head coach. You couldn't do that. And that's why I've been saying throughout this process, and it's only fortified by the more that I hear about it, that I'm giving Dubas the benefit of the doubt in a big way on this. I believe that he did what was right and for the right reasons. So when I said, as you quoted me here, Ed, that I hoped Sullivan was let go for the right reasons, I'm moving very far in that direction. I appreciate the question. It's a good one. It's a fair one. I appreciate everybody listening to Daily Shot of Penguins. Going to be back with another one of these tomorrow.